Okay, hello everybody. My name is Sarah. For those who are not familiar with me, I am the Chief Operations Officer at Healing Embodied, and I also have Chelsea, who is our founder and CEO of Healing Embodied. She and I co-created our accredited Healing Embodied methodology as well as our practitioner certification program. And today we're here to do a short session demo where I am going to demonstrate two different ways of working with the overthinking mind. I'm going to start with the very traditional, more cognitive thought talk-based approach of working with the overthinking mind. And I'm going to talk you through a little bit about what I'm noticing, what's coming up with that. And I want you to witness what I'm doing, witness what you're seeing in Chelsea, and see what you can notice in that. And then I'm going to demonstrate working with the overthinking mind using some of our accredited methodology approaches so that you can see how it really differs and how you're able to get much deeper into the client's experience when you start to bring in the body, creativity, all that jazz. Okay.
Yeah, I'm
So,
pumped.
yay, cool. Okay. Chelsea, action. Hey, Chelsea, how are you? What's been going on for you recently?
Yeah, I've been feeling really anxious, really stressed. I have like a lot going on. There's a lot of like moving pieces in my life, a lot of things I'm responsible for and that are weighing on me with
Mm.
work. And yeah, my mind is just like worried about all the different things that I have to do all the time and all the things that could go wrong. And so I'm just noticing, yeah, just a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, and I don't really know what to do with it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. If you have a lot going on, then of course you'd be feeling stressed and overwhelmed. I'm curious, can you tell me a little bit more about what is happening that's stressing you out?
Well, I just, there's a lot of things I'm responsible for. And so it's like I'm always thinking like 10 steps ahead and like, what if I forget about this? And what if I forget about that? And what if I don't get that done in time? And what are people going to think that if I like don't get that done in time? And, what if my boss gets mad at me? And, what if, yeah, like just thinking 10 steps ahead all the time of all the things that I have to do and just like not being able to turn it off. Like I go to bed at night and I'm thinking about everything like, oh crap, did I do that? And oh crap, I have to do that tomorrow. So just so yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And when you're like having all of those what ifs happening in your head, like how does that impact you in your life?
I think it's just, yeah, makes me really stressed. It's hard to relax. It's hard to like, when I'm making dinner, I'm thinking about work. When I'm like with my kids, I'm thinking about work. And so I feel like stressed and on edge and yeah, like just not able to relax and like be the way that I want to in my life.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And something I'm noticing is that a lot of the thoughts are very what if? What if this happens? What if that happens? What if that happens? And then they're followed by a very like negative based outcome. Like what if this falls through the cracks? What if I mess this up? What if my boss gets mad at me? What if my husband gets upset with me? Like a very negative thought process.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and I'm wondering about trying to shift some of that. Like, what if things worked out? What if my boss was okay? What if my husband forgave me for that? I'm wondering how you can start to bring in a different way of thinking about the stress and situation.
Yeah, my mind definitely does not naturally go there.
Mhm.
My mind, like you said, definitely goes to the negative and yeah, it's really hard for me to even think in the moment about like something positive happening. And it's like I know in my life, whenever I've stressed and worried about things, like things work out. But yeah, my brain definitely just goes to that negative place. And it's like I want to be more positive and like I want to be able to not be constantly worried about the worst case scenario and like worried about people being upset with me. And so yeah, it's I can definitely see how maybe I would feel differently if I tried focusing on a different way of thinking.
Yeah. Have you thought about why your brain defaults to negative thought patterns?
Well, I know just like I put a lot of pressure on myself, I think. I don't want to mess up and I don't like it when people are upset with me.
Yeah,
And so
neither
I
neither do I.
yeah, I just don't like when people are upset with me. I get worried about what people think of me, and so I think my brain just kind of goes there
Yeah.
automatically that that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really common. A lot of brains do that. Our brains are pretty wired to see through the lens of like the bad option versus the good option, and it's because it's what's kept humans alive for so long, right? If we're
Right.
prepared for something to go wrong, then we can often survive it, at least like historically going back centuries, right? So it makes sense, and it's a big leap to ask your brain to really like override that and start thinking about the situation quite a bit differently. But I wonder if that's something that you can practice.
Yeah, I guess my question is like how can I begin practicing going to that more positive outlook when my brain, yeah, sometimes it's like really hard to even think of the
Yeah.
positive things. Yeah.
Yeah,
I do want to work on it for sure. Yeah.
yeah. Something that I find really helpful is putting little reminders in places. So writing on your mirror, putting a sticky note, writing on your phone, like the more positive ones. When you see it, it kind of triggers your brain. Oh yeah, think the new way, think the new way, think the new way. Does that feel like
Yeah.
something you could try?
Yeah, totally. And I think I've seen like other people do that, but it's not something I've ever done for myself. And yeah, I can definitely see how that would just help like I don't know, just like redirect or like reframe or rewire that. Yeah, just because it feels very automatic that like I'm automatically thinking of the worst case scenario and then I'm just like, like why does
Yeah.
my brain go there? Why can't my brain just like quiet down? But I think I could definitely try like putting practicing by putting those reminders and just like kind of feeding my brain something different, you know?
Yeah. Cut.
Cut.
Okay, cool. So,
Scene.
scene and scene for now. Okay, so people watching, I'm going to talk you through a little bit about what I was seeing. First of all, that was very, very hard for me to do, to not get into the body.
It was very hard for me to be your client knowing what I know
It
about you.
is, it's so second nature for us now. It's what we do all day, every day, that I was like, stay with the mind, stay with the mind, stay with the mind. And it's second nature because we've trained this for 10 years now, Chelsea and I, 20 years combined. This was a lot of what we were often taught is like ask questions, right? Clinicians are taught to ask questions, get more information, ask questions, get information, give suggestions. So something that I was noticing was that the more from what I was noticing kind of from my vantage point that I sit at right now, was that the more we talked about this, I wasn't seeing any kind of shifts in Chelsea's affect. I wasn't noticing any shifts in her body. She kind of was at the same level of stress the entire time. And
Mm.
so, yes, I think she's going to leave this session with some very concrete suggestions of here's a thing you can do to help shift your mindset. However, her level of stress in the body, if you notice, she kind of had a tight affect. She wasn't like smiling and laughing and moving around. Her body was kind of locked and rigid. She wasn't super, super tense. There wasn't a panic attack happening or anything like that. But she, especially because I know Chelsea very well, her body was pretty restricted. She was kind of not making a lot of eye contact with me. She's kind of looking around. Her tone of voice was pretty monotone. There wasn't a lot of inflection or bounciness or breath or anything like that. And it kind of stayed that way the entire session. So we started in a state of stress. We ended in a state of stress.
I feel stress in my body still.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like even as the mock client, like that's not, that was kind of a made up scenario, but kind of pulled from real
Yeah.
experiences. But even, from my vantage point, working with somatics and then like being the mock client, I still feel the same level of activation in my chest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I was kind of going for here was looking at, okay, how is Chelsea thinking about this stressful situation in her life? How can I help her think differently about this stressful situation? Which I'm not at all saying that that is a inherently bad thing to do. I genuinely think that if Chelsea, client mock Chelsea, whatever, could think about this situation a little bit differently, if her relationship to the sh situation shifted, she probably would feel a little bit of decrease in her overall stress and overwhelm. However, just shifting how she thinks about it isn't actually changing how it feels for
Mm.
her in her body at all. I also want to name that when Chelsea asked me, even though I've been doing this for a long time, when she asked me, like, okay, so how do I do that? I felt one little moment of like, fuck, do it, just do it, you know? Or when she was like, yeah, well, I guess I could do that. It was a moment where I was like, yeah, okay, go practice. I felt this moment as the clinician of like, what do I do? I'm running out of questions to ask her about her
Yeah.
stress. And I felt this moment of like, oh, I'm supposed to be asking her questions for this demonstration. I'm supposed to be demoing a more thought cognitive approach. I hit a moment of like, I don't really know what to ask her now. And that's honestly why I said, scene. We can't do that if we're in a session with a client and spend 7 minutes and we have 43 minutes or whatever the math is to go, right? So that's a very common experience when we're working just with the thoughts is we run out of questions to ask the
Mm.
client.
Yeah, there's only so many new places you can go in the mind. It's like the mind, the brain is literally wired to just repeat what it knows.
Yes.
It's a memory bank, and so it's just going to repeat what it knows. And so it's like there's only so much new thought that can open up from thought alone. I'm thinking about Einstein's quote, you can't solve the problem at the same level of consciousness that created it, something along the lines of that. And so it's like if we're only helping our client access their mind at this kind of certain level of consciousness, this certain state of being, like we're only going to be able to get so many different solutions versus literally helping your client change their state of consciousness, change their emotional state, which then opens up the mind to new ways of thinking, which is what we're going to demo next.
Yes. Cool. Okay. So we're gonna run it back and start at the beginning. Chelsea might say something slightly different, but same general vibe, stress and overwhelm. And what I'm going to demonstrate is what I might actually do with a client sitting in session with me using our healing embodied methodology. Okay. Hey, Chelsea, tell me what's been going on for you recently.
It's just been a lot of just a lot of stress, a lot of worry. I mean, I have a lot going on at work, a lot of responsibilities, and I just feel like I have a really hard time turning it off. I'm always thinking about like, oh my gosh, I have this to get done and this to get done and this to get done, and like, what if, yeah, what if I can't get that done in time, and like, what if my boss gets upset with me? And so, yeah, it's just been a lot going on with work stress, and I'm really feeling it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oof. I was holding my breath the entire time you were talking.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I
yeah, I
feel
think I
that.
am too.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel that. Yeah. I'm curious when all the is happening up here. What's what's happening down here? What do you notice in your chest, your breath, your body?
Yeah, I think like you mentioned, I think my breathing is really shallow. I definitely feel like a lot of tension in my body
Mm-hmm.
when I like think about work stuff. Like just kind of this like restlessness, jitteriness, just yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel it all over? Do you find that it kind of congregates in one area of your body?
Like right now in this moment, I think I'm feeling it mostly in my chest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Let's, if it's okay with you, I'd love to kind of zoom in on that for a moment. Spend a little bit of time down here. It sounds like you've been spending a lot of time up here in the brain world, thinking, 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 planning, doing, saying, all of this.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I wonder if, whew, down here could use a little bit of love.
probably.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's try it. Yeah. If it feels okay, you can close the eyes or you can just kind of soften them. See if you can gently start to zoom in on that tension you named in your chest. Just start to notice if that tension has a shape. Might feel like a giant balloon. It might feel like a brick. It might be this thick, gooey blob. Notice if it has a color, a texture. There might even be an image that comes to mind, a really tight rope, a bunch of bees buzzing angrily, a thumping. Yeah, I just feel that gentle pressure of your hand resting on your chest. Just start to see if there's any way that your body wants to allow this tension to move. You can give it an external expression. That might be physically moving your chest around, that might be using your hand, tensing and flexing. Yeah, this wiggle in the shoulders. Oh. Oh. Yeah. We're not necessarily trying to get rid of the tension. It might soften, it might increase, decrease, move around. It's all good, it's all safe. We're just spending some time actually allowing ourselves to connect with the embodied experience, not just what's going on in your brain and in your thoughts. There's a little creature that's sensing that mom is stressed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's always here with me.
Yeah. Oh. What are you noticing as we're just tuning into this space in the body, allowing some gentle movement to show up?
Yeah, it feels like a long but f flat, like just blade
Mm.
going into my chest. It's like dark gray, and when I was like putting my hands over it, I could like literally feel like my heartbeat like against my hand. I was like, oh my gosh, like my heart is just like boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom, boom. And so it was just like really interesting to like kind of feel that stabbing and also this like racing heart, and could
Mm.
definitely like notice my mind like, you know, coming up with things. And
Mhm.
then when you asked me to like just see what my body wanted to do, I just like felt like I needed to like wiggle, and I just like took some deeper breaths and felt less stabby, like still stabby, but like a little less like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful. And when you noticed, it sounds like the mind was like a little bit here and there
Yeah.
throughout
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Normal, completely normal. And as you brought it back into like the breath, I saw you doing some bigger movements, some
Yeah.
deeper breaths, brought both hands up. What did you notice in your thoughts when you were moving and connecting with your body?
The thoughts were like still there, but
Mhm.
they felt almost like slower
Hmm.
or quieter.
Okay.
which was nice.
Yeah. New, it sounds like. At
Yeah.
least recently.
Yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful. And this is something you can practice is when you notice this happening up here, all the chatter, seeing if you can just intentionally pause and notice what's happening in my body right now. It's a phrase I use 1,000 times a day, teach every single client I ever work with. What's happening in my body right now? And again, we're not trying to get rid of it. We're not trying to make it go away. You have some very real external pressures right now, some very real time constraints, very real things that have to get done. I hear that. And when we can pause and notice what's happening in my body. Ooh, sharp blade. Ooh, what does my body need? Ooh. As you notice, it can help just gently quiet
Yeah.
or slow down the stress in the mind, even just a little bit.
Yeah, because that's been like my biggest thing is feeling like I don't know how to turn it off. And, I'll be cooking dinner, I'll be like playing with my kids, I'll be trying to go to sleep at night, and it's just like
Yeah.
always there. And then, yeah, that like stressed feeling. And so, yeah, even just like doing it just now and noticing how my thoughts were able to get a little bit quieter. I'm really interested to like see, like, try this and implement this in those moments where it's like I'm on autopilot and it's just like happening automatically and I don't really realize it until my shoulders are literally sore
Hmm.
because I've been just like holding that tension. And so yeah, curious to see how this helps me in those moments where I'm like just trying to live my life and be more present or freaking fall asleep at night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love that word presence because the body is the portal into the present moment. Because what's
Mm.
happening in my body is literally happening right now in this moment, whereas what's happening in your mind often isn't. You named like, what if this happens? What
Mm.
if this happens? I have this deadline. I have this thing I have to do. None of that's actually happening right now. It's future thoughts. And so coming
Yeah.
into the body, what's happening in my body right now is grounding you into the present moment. Even if the present moment kind of sucks and is uncomfortable, you're still meeting like what's here right now versus future things.
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah, my mind, it does feel like a lot of times it's not in the moment. And so I love what you said about like the body helping me come back to the moment
Yeah,
instead
beautiful.
of just trying to like, it's like my brain is like, you can't let yourself relax until you've like, figured out and like
Yeah,
checked all the things off the mental list.
yeah, classic. Ah, and
See.
okay, thank you, mock client Chelsea.
Hello. My dog, she really
That felt
wants to play
nice.
with me. Yeah, I,
Maybe.
I, again, even just being a mock client, I feel differently in my body.
Mm,
Like it
yeah.
really genuinely as like the embodiment of that client, my body was like so grateful to have that moment to like
Mm,
slow down and drop in and like pay attention to something other than all the constant chatter.
totally. Yeah. And I also felt very, very different as the practitioner. I was barely thinking or thinking ahead that entire time. In the last demo, when I was doing more cognitive approaches, every time Chelsea was talking to me, I was thinking, what am I going to say next? What am I going to say
Mm,
next? Like, what's the thing she's going to say that I can, ooh, I'm going to pick that out and say something about it. Whereas this time I was just with her, just waiting to see what her body would reveal. I didn't know what was going to happen when she dropped into her body. She could have started crying, she could have gotten up and started shaking, she could have curled up in a ball. And I didn't need to know because I was just with her, just feeling with her. So I felt very calm, I felt very present, I felt peaceful, even though I was holding space for a lot of discomfort and stress in Chelsea's body. I felt very able to hold it with her. I wasn't thinking about what I'm going to do next. Part of that's because I've been doing this for a long time. It's very integrated in my body. And that's what happens when you facilitate from the body versus just the mind is you're not thinking, you're just feeling with your client. So that
Mm.
was probably the biggest thing I noticed. Do you want to
And
keep?
even like in the beginning, when I was sharing, when this client was sharing, you used your body and the somatic cues of your body to cue me into my body, right? You're like, whoa, as you were sharing that, I noticed how much I was holding my breath, which
Mm,
organically cued me in to go, how am I breathing? And I
yeah.
was like, oh my God, I'm
Oh
holding my
yeah.
breath. And
Yeah.
so you, like the facilitator, being able to use their own body and their own somatic wisdom
Mm,
versus like, oh no, I'm holding my breath. I shouldn't be holding my breath when my client, like, oh no, I'm taking it on. And
yeah.
that's what a lot of practitioners do is they take it on in their body instead of knowing how to skillfully give it back and transform it
Mm,
with their client.
yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And so much of what I was like picking up on with Chelsea was noticing, okay, what's present with her? Where's her nervous system at today? It was very much in that like flight energy with a little bit of freeze. She was kind of like happening in her
Yeah.
body. So I was feeling into like, okay, what is that like in my body? What does my body need? Right? That exhale, that softening, that slowing down. And I was really inviting her into creativity, a creative relationship with the stress and what's happening in her body right now, bringing her into the present moment. And can we notice this energy simply as energy, as sensation? Does it have a shape, a color, a texture, a sound, an image? Does it move around? How does your body want to move with it? Instead of asking, what are you stressed about? What are you going to do about that stress? How about you think about it differently? We literally dropped into the body, and naturally, her body led the way toward a slight calming, a slight decrease in the stress, which naturally made her think a little bit differently, right? She said, oh, it was a little less loud and a little slower. We didn't actually do anything with her thoughts. I didn't try to slow her thoughts down. We just got into the body, and the body's natural wisdom shifted how she was thinking in the moment.
Yeah, and
That's
that's
the
that. Exactly. And that's that bi-directional communication and how 80% of communication happens from the body to the brain, to the mind. And so this is the exact moment where we're helping our clients' bodies create a new experience, which sends a new signal up to the brain, and then the brain responds, right? It feels like it's happening simultaneously, but the brain then responds with slower thoughts, quieter thoughts, versus let me try to change the thoughts to change the body. And we saw
yeah,
in the previous demo, we changed the thoughts, but her body was still, as that mock client, I still felt that same level of that stabbing in my chest.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Woo!
Woo! So this is literally just some of the very foundational work that we teach. And I literally was teaching a class to our practitioner students this morning. And we spent a lot of time with this kind of stuff, and they were blown away at what their own body's wisdom was revealing just in staying here. Like, so much richness comes from helping our clients drop into their body. And what I was also teaching our practitioner students was like, you don't, in that moment, like Sarah was saying, you're not thinking so hard. You don't feel like you're working so hard as the facilitator to create a profound experience. You're helping your client tap into their body's own wisdom, which again, you're not the one as a facilitator absorbing it all, holding it all, trying to think of what's the next thing to say. You are creating the optimal space for someone else's nervous system to begin to naturally shift and transform.
Mm, yes,
Yeah.
beautiful.
So this is a huge plug for our newest offer, Intro to Somatic Facilitation, where you're going to learn how to first be anchored into your body so that you can remain present even when your client is coming in with their stress and their dysregulation, like Sarah just did, like noticing the cues in your body and how to use that to uh, inspire the next thing versus thinking of what's the next thing going to be, like using your body's somatic intelligence to then allow the next thing to come. And then knowing how to begin to help people drop into their bodies, knowing as the facilitator how to attune to someone else's body non-verbally so that you're not just getting caught in the thoughts with them, you're actually assessing what's happening in their body and using that as the inroad.
Mm, yes. Love it. Join us for Intro to Somatic Facilitation. We start next week.
We start on April 21st is our first class. We will post all the links and all the information to jump in. This is going to completely transform the way you work as a facilitator, the way that you feel in sessions. Even that alone, imagine how much that's going to change your level of satisfaction in your work and how you can show up for your clients. But also beginning to introduce somatic principles from the Healing Embodied Method, being able to introduce somatic principles into your work so that all that beautiful cognitive reframing that you're doing can land in your client's body.
Yes.
All right, we will see you inside,
All right.
everyone. See you there. Bye bye.